Uneasy Rider. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
Philip Taylor Kramer was an aerospace engineer who knew how to configure the flight path of a nuclear missile. He was a computer executive who worked on revolutionary technology to compress and transmit data. He was a student of theoretical physics whose work he believed could transport objects faster than the speed of light. But his claim to fame wasn't any of these incredibly impressive things. You see, Kramer was also a rock star, the bassist of the iconic psychedelic prog rock band Iron Butterfly. But this episode isn't even about that. On February 12, 1995, Kramer, the millionaire rock star physicist tech mogul, disappeared with 40 cents in his pocket and countless secrets that involved space travel, privilege, government information, and even the O.J. Simpson trial. Today on Ghost Town, the disappearance of Philip Taylor Kramer. Born in Youngstown, Ohio, on July 12, 1952, Kramer had always been a curious, artistic child. He was the son of academics, and his father, a local professor of electrical engineering, was obsessed with trying to disprove Einstein's theories. Well, specifically one, that objects cannot travel faster than the speed of light. At age 12, Kramer seemed to be following in his father's footsteps when he won a school science fair by building a laser strong enough to pop a balloon. But his life took a drastic turn in 1974. It was then that he joined the band Iron Butterfly as its bass guitarist and recorded 2 albums with the band, Scorching Beauty and Sun and Steel, both released in 1975. At the height of his rock stardom, Kramer went through a kind of quarter-life crisis, urging people to stop calling him Philip and instead to call him only Taylor. After only a year with Iron Butterfly, he abruptly left the band, though he continued to play with Ron Bushy, a founding member of the group and also a dear friend of his in later years. Anyhow, after leaving Iron Butterfly, Kramer got a degree in aerospace engineering from the Western States College of Engineering. From there, he went to work for the Department of Defense, contracting on the MX missile guidance system, a position that would have likely exposed Kramer to incredibly confidential and sensitive information, giving him unique access into governmental secrets. A 1996 Washington Post article theorized that this was true, saying, quote, Glenn Mavis worked with Kramer, and both had to swear a national security oath. Mavis would claim to have noticed Kramer's office cubicle taped shut on several occasions, something engineers did to, quote, signal that their work was classified and not to be viewed by anyone else. Mavis isn't sure exactly what Kramer was doing, the Post went on to report, but he knows it involved helping to get the MX missile to fly accurately. Though his work up until that point focused on aerospace engineering, Kramer was much more interested in data storage, and in the early 1990s, he transitioned into the private sector, working on video compression and facial recognition systems in what would become the foundation of the tech industry. At the time, Kramer became recognized as one of the field's leading experts, founding Total Multimedia with Randy Jackson, Michael Jackson's brother. The company focused on data compression for digital storage and claimed they were the first to create a video compression method for a full-motion video. But this endeavor proved to be much harder than Kramer thought, and in 1994, the company filed for bankruptcy. Although he continued to consult for similar companies, financial problems got the best of Kramer, who now owed tens of thousands of dollars to friends and family. Many who knew Kramer, including his former coworker Glenn Mavis, had said he, quote, frequently operated on the financial margins, accruing debts in a number of business ventures from which he always seemed to rebound. Quote, he could deal with it, recalled Mark Spywak, another of Kramer's former business partners, who remembered Kramer always bounced back from every financial hardship. Eventually, Kramer also stumbled upon the author James Redfield, whose philosophy on raising vibrations and communicating with unknown sources of intelligence were dramatically outlined in his best-selling book, The Celestine Prophecy. Also around this time, Kramer was experimenting on newer, more fringe technologies that would have allowed immediate data transfers, a breakthrough that would have circled back to his father's own obsession, discrediting Einstein's faster-than-light theories. According to his wife, Jennifer Kramer, Kramer had told her that this new technology had been, quote, "It was so simple that no one had found it before." Kramer reportedly explained to his spouse that the technology could use facial recognition to find lost children or missing individuals by way of AI. Naturally, this would be a huge breakthrough, especially at the time, and a dangerous technology if it fell into the wrong hands. Kramer's intense, often manic dedication to his work led to sleep deprivation and eventually paranoia. Later, both his father and his wife would recall that Kramer began to voice concerns that people were coming after him because of his work. According to Jennifer Kramer, quote, "The day before he disappeared, we went on a hike to the top of the hill by our house, and we looked across, and you could see the whole valley where we live. And there's a cross up on the hill that belongs to one of the colleges nearby. And he turned around and he pointed to the cross, and he said, 'Look, honey, our house is right in the path of this cross.' He started to see sacredness in everything." On February 12, 1995, Kramer left for Los Angeles International Airport, where he was scheduled to pick up some friends. But Kramer never arrived at LAX as planned. Instead, Kramer called his wife to let her know that his plans had suddenly changed. He also told her that he loved her very much. She said in a later interview, quote, "I said, 'Taylor, where are you? Where are you going? What are you doing?' And I started to get scared, and I thought something was wrong with him." Jennifer also said that Kramer told her that he'd meet his friends at their hotel room later that afternoon, but she knew in her gut that something was terribly wrong. She continued, quote, "Really calmly and lovingly, like he normally talks to me, he said, 'When I see you, honey, I have a big surprise for you.' But I knew in my gut that Taylor wasn't going to be at the hotel. I just knew he wouldn't be there." In the span of the next 20 minutes, Kramer made many strange calls to friends and family. One of the calls was to his Iron Butterfly drummer friend, Ron Bushy. Quote, "Bush, it's Taylor. I love you more than life itself." His voice sounded stressed and scared, Bushy recalled, like maybe he'd even been crying. I don't know. Then he hung up. After that call, Kramer called 911. This call was different than all of the others. According to a transcript, he told the operator that he planned to kill himself, adding, quote, "I want everyone to know that O.J. Simpson is innocent," a reference to Kramer being asked to give his expert testimony on the video footage of the murders at the Simpson trial, which was underway at the time. "They did it," Kramer added, and then he hung up. It was the last thing anyone would ever hear him say. More after this break.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Hello out there.
We're checking in.
This is it. Till next
we
week.
Want to say until next week. Yeah, this is it. This is it until 1,000 more times. So get it while you can, which is whenever you want.
Anytime.
We want to say hello to anyone who's listening, supporting us, spreading the good word of Ghost Town. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And our government. The mayors. Now, they were once missing members of bands as well. Luckily, they were found. You don't really hear about them being part of these bands. They just pretty much been omitted from their
because it's
history.
so niche. It's so mysterious and so niche and so cool.
This first mayor was the additional cello player of Sixpence None the Richer.
Oh, wow. Plus one
Kiss
cello.
Me?
Yeah, I remember Kiss Me. It's the 90s anthem, Kiss Me.
Yeah.
Everyone learned that on acoustic guitar at my Jewish camp.
They were like, hey, we got the one cello player. We're about to hit it big. We can't really lugging around another cello. Well, that would be our mayor, Ashley Matson.
Hello.
This mayor was a member of the Canadian band Len with their hit Steal My Sunshine.
Yeah, and Graduation, or am I getting that wrong?
No, I think the Graduation might be, was that Vitamin C?
No, you're right. That's Vitamin C. They're the same band to me. This is hitting back to my high school years quite a bit.
They were additional rapper.
And
they were like, you know what?
White, and we need them now.
Yeah. They were like, you know what? I think we already got that covered, and we really don't need a rap break in this song that's relatively repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately, for Chris Hernandez, he was sacked.
Sorry, Chris.
This mayor was in the band The Verve Pipe.
Yeah. I loved Cruel
Freshman?
Intentions. Yeah.
Yeah. This person was the 7-string bass player.
Wow.
And they were like, you know what? The song doesn't really need it.
It's got a lot going on.
We already got the 4-string bass, and it's like, it's great you have a 7-string bass and you know how to play it, but we're kind of good. So that was unfortunate for Cat Joselle.
Sorry.
This mayor was a member of the band Third Eye Blind.
Yeah.
San Francisco action.
Whoa.
They were like, we don't need another singer at all. We already got, it was Stephen Perkins. We already got him.
You know a lot about Third Eye Blind.
I'm like a trivia, like whatever. They were like, we're really good. Like, we just don't need another singer. We don't need another lead singer. So this person moved from the great state of New Jersey all the way to San Francisco just to find out. They're like, we're just going to go with the one singer.
Wow, what is this, like the oral history of Third Eye Blind featuring
pretty much
our governor?
Well, that would be our mayor, Kelly Meehan.
Hello.
This mayor was, for some reason, they were like, you know what? We need another cello player. We're like, we need a cello player. And then the band Puddle of Mud realized, you know what? Our music doesn't need it at all. It was like for one song, and then they scrapped it. They're like, no, we're just gonna be kind of terrible, kind of misogynistic.
Yeah, we're gonna do our own shitty thing. Thank you very much.
We don't need this cello player. Unfortunately, spent so much money on it and had it shipped out there.
It's tough.
Our mayor, Marissa Rothermel.
Hello.
Our governor was and still is a member of a band legally called the Beatles.
Yeah, never heard of her. She wants it that way.
Yeah.
She was like, this is too like high key for me. I'll just be rich and amazing and a genius. Yeah. Thank you.
It's like anytime the Beatles legacy wants to make a move, they got to ask, not the 5th member, the first member.
The founding member. George Martin, get the fuck out of here. Ringo Starr? You wish. You
History
fucking wish.
Rewritten. That's the rules, baby. That's the power she wields. That would be our governor,
Avian Noble.
If you want no ads, no chit chat, 7 days free, bonus episodes, head on over to patreon.com/ghosttownpod. Want to get back into it?
Let's do it. On February 12th, 1995, Kramer made some calls to friends, family, and 911, and then nobody ever heard from him again. Because of his own fame and his pioneering work, Kramer's disappearance attracted immediate attention. A segment about him aired on The Oprah Winfrey Show and on America's Most Wanted, as Kramer's family worked to obtain any information they could. At 6'5" and weighing 220 pounds, Kramer would have been hard to miss, and many people came forward saying that they had in fact seen him after February 12th, but from this, no substantial leads were gained. 4 years later, in May of 1999, was the next big lead in the case. 2 photographers were shooting in Decker Canyon, about 1.5 miles east of Los Angeles' Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu. It was there that they discovered a 1993 green Ford Aerostar van with human remains inside, which seemed to have crashed at the bottom of the canyon. Quote, "We came upon a Ford Aerostar which was fairly intact for the backside," one of the hikers said in a later interview. "We had to shimmy around to get to the front end. It was completely smashed, the windshield was completely shattered." One of the photographers then looked into the passenger's side window and saw what appeared to be a human leg bone sticking up from the back seat. Quote, "I freaked and told my friend. My friend said, 'No way.' I said, 'You're probably right, it couldn't be. It's just a stick shift.'" After calling the police, the van was ID'd as Kramer's. According to dental records, the remains found within the van were also Kramer's. Although his estimated value was in the millions, a total of just 40 cents was found in his pocket. Though Kramer's body had now been found, many questions, of course, still needed to be answered. Mainly, how did he and his car end up at the bottom of this canyon, and why? Both local police and the FBI investigated Kramer's death, which was ultimately ruled a probable suicide. Quote, "We've got no motive," said private investigator Chuck Carter, a former police officer and DEA agent hired by Kramer's business partners to investigate the case. Based on the coroner's report, it seemed that Kramer died only a short time after he disappeared. With his fragile mental state, as well as his lack of sleep in the weeks leading up to his disappearance, all pointed to the likelihood of suicide, authorities said, although of course many loose ends remained. But his family and friends had huge doubts about the conclusion of suicide. Quote, "My brother would not have left his family," Kramer's sister said in an interview with VH1. His widow Jennifer told the LA Times that Kramer would, quote, "never, for any reason or under any circumstances, allow himself to completely abandon the family he loves more than life itself." Ron Bushy, Kramer's best friend and former Iron Butterfly bandmate, said, quote, "Somebody put a gun to his head." Bushy explained to the Washington Post that he believed Kramer had been killed, quote, "because he just made a breakthrough in this new technology." Kramer's father agreed with Bushy and also gave more information about perhaps a bigger conspiracy at play. Quote, "Taylor had told me a long time before that there was people giving him problems," he said. "They wanted what he was doing, and several of them had threatened him. He told me, if I ever say I'm going to kill myself, don't you believe it. I'm going to be needing help." Of course, theories grew. Was foul play actually involved? Did Kramer know highly confidential government secrets that he was about to spill or sell or someone else wanted? Or even was he murdered because he had privileged information about the O.J. Simpson case? Of course, many Reddit threads still wonder what happened to the 42-year-old and theorize that along with suicide, maybe Kramer had a fatal manic or schizophrenic episode. Or it was a random accident, or it was murder. Unfortunately, we might never know what really happened to Kramer, but his larger-than-life story is a lightning rod for curiosity, intrigue, reflection, and of course, conspiracy.